I am so happy. I'm just so happy today. You know why? Because we have found the top five EIN only business loans that fund within 12 hours. Can you believe that? 12 hours. And you can get up to $1 million. Poor FICO is okay, no personal guarantee. Stick around till the end of today's conversation. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as terrific as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's convo, I want to speak to you about the top five EIN only business loans that fund within 12 hours. 12 hours. And you can get up to $1 million. Poor FICO is okay, no personal guarantee. But before I get into the actual rankings, let me just say that if you want to get the funds as fast as possible, there are a few things you got to do. You got to be you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared because the lenders I will be speaking to you about, they are so fast. If they don't hear from you, they will move on to the next borrower. So it's very important that you be prepared. And what does preparation mean? It means that you will have all the documentation they need to approve, to review and approve your loan as soon as possible. So you want to have things like gross annual sales, years in business. You want to put your first and last name, your phone number, email address, legal business name, your legal business name. You got to have also your EIN. We're speaking about EIN only. No need to put any social security number. They just need your EIN, your employer identification number. All right. And so once you have those basic details, you need other documentation. You need to have business credit reports if relevant, if applicable. Some might ask you for a personal credit reports, but it's not important because they just want to have it for context, but they're not going to judge the loan on that. They will want to see profit and loss statements, business and personal income tax returns, your balance sheet, business debt schedule, and they want to have also a business plan. Very important. You want to write a compelling and very targeted business plan. They want you to also put resumes of all owners. They want to see articles of incorporation, and they want to see any necessary business licenses and permits. So this is, if you will, the financial and legal paraphernalia you need to have ready before applying for an EIN only business loan, especially if you want it to be funded within 12 hours. Very important. Before I get into the actual rankings, please check out this short evaluation video. It shows you our method for reviewing, for assessing, for categorizing business loans on this show. Check this out. All right, folks. Number five. When it comes to the top five EIN only business loans that fund within 12 hours, we have a great player for you. Breakout Capital. Our score 8.5 over 10. And with Breakout Capital, you can actually get funding between 50,000 and a quarter of a million. This is pretty fantastic. And what are the pros and cons here? Pros, it is suited for small businesses. This lender really works very well with small businesses. We love the fact that they have a relaxed borrower qualification process. They have competitive terms and fees, and they have excellent customer support. In terms of the cons, sometimes we have seen that they have charged people potentially high factor rates. What happens here is that they look at the application, the loan application, but they will fund you within 8 hours. The time to funding is 8 hours, okay? And the required annual revenue is $50,000, and credit score 500 minimum, and minimum time in business 1 to 2 years. What we love with the Breakout Capital is that they offer a wide constellation of short-term business financing solutions to all small businesses, regardless of the credit score. Again, here I'm talking about credit score at the personal level, but also at the business level. Very important. As a matter of fact, they have, can you believe that they actually have one of the lowest borrower qualifications, prepayment discounts, and easy renewal process? In other words, you can borrow from them over and over and over. Okay, we love the fact that one thing we love about Breakout Capital is that they have had in the last few years transparent, helpful customer service. They have a fast time from application to funding. They have little documentation required, and they have flexible financing options. And we love the fact that they also will try to help you. In other words, they understand that your success in terms of financial discipline is also their success because they will be paid on time. So they have their customer service. They also have a range of FAQ resources that will help small business owners understand the ins and outs of budgeting, of working capital financing, of short-term financing, and so on and so forth. So Breakout Capital, great player, 8.5 over 10. Next, we have number 4, we have On Deck. Our score, 9 over 10. We love On Deck. Great player also. On Deck is really a prolific online small business lender, and they offer 2 types of business loans. So you have short-term loans, that's the first part, and then they have revolving lines of credits. And one thing we love is that On Deck is there for you. They actually, the time to funding is 12 hours, okay? And the borrowing amount goes from $50,000 to $1 million. And the required annual revenue is $10,000 a month or $120,000 a year. And the credit score, the minimum is a 525, and the minimum time in business is more than 2 years, okay? What are the pros and cons here? Pros: borrower qualifications are lower than with traditional banks, and you have multiple types of financing available. We love that. And we love the fact that if you are a repeat customer, if you are a repeat borrower, they will give you lower APRs. And the application process is fast and very easy. Everything happens online. Funds are disbursed quickly, as I said, within 12 hours. And they can help you actually build business credit. The cons here is that right now, On Deck hasn't been able to cover the whole United States, so financing is not available in some states. They're not available to businesses in some industries. They're very particular about that, and rates can be expensive depending upon the state you're in. One thing I want to say here is that we have done extensive research about On Deck. We love the fact that they have a fast time to funding, and really, they're one of the highest in the industry. Imagine getting $1 million within 12 hours. Of course, you got to have the right paperwork. I'm not saying that this is just going to be a walk in the park. No, no, this will not be easy. But my point is, if you are prepared, if you have all the documentation that you need and that they need, they will fund you within 12 hours. Okay. And we love the fact that they have a friendly, knowledgeable customer service out there. And they also will report to business credit bureaus, which is pretty great because in the end, you want to also work on your business credit your business credit score. In other words, you're trying to build business credit. So this is pretty cool. We love the fact that, and we love the fact also that they are working to educate you. They have a vast constellation of resources that will help business borrowers improve their financial situation, improve their financial stability, and so on and so forth. So that is fantastic. I'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about the top 5 EIN-Only business loans that fund within 12 hours. Can you believe that? 12 hours. Yes, 12 hours. That's all you need. As long as you have the right paperwork, they will fund you within 12 hours. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3, Bluevine, another great player. Great player. Our score, 9.5 over 10. And with the Bluevine, what you have here is you have a great platform that can fund you as fast as 8 hours. So the time to funding is 8 hours. The borrowing amount is a little lower than on deck. It goes from $50,000 to $250,000. The required annual revenue, the minimum, is $100,000. Credit score minimum 510, and minimum time in business less than 1 year. So they're really more flexible in terms of the youth of the credit, or the youth of the business that is applying for credit. What are the pros and cons here when it comes to Bluevine? Bluevine, when you think about Bluevine, what we love about Bluevine is the fact that financing is available for startups and entrepreneurs, which is not something very easy. If you are an entrepreneur with no credit, low credit, bad credit, you might have a hard time actually getting financing. But with Bluevine, fantastic. All right, they have low credit score qualifications. The application is fast and easy, and funds get disbursed quickly within 8 hours. What about the cons? Financing again is not available in some states because they haven't been able to cover the whole United States yet. Rates in some cases can be expensive. So if you have bad credit, personally, even though this is an EIN-only loan, if the business also happens to have bad credit, chances are your APR will just go up, right? This is just pure logic, at least pure economic logic. And repayments are required quickly when it comes to Bluevine. That's another negative or adverse criterion to take into account. And customer service is inconsistent. And one thing I also need to mention here is that with Bluevine, you can get term loans, SBA loans, lines of credit, and invoice factoring. Very important, invoice factoring. Okay, so invoice factoring means what? It means that Bluevine buys your unpaid invoices, and so they buy the unpaid invoices and they give you a lump sum of cash, giving you capital to work with instead of waiting for invoice payments to come through, right? So those are things you need to pay attention to. Number 2, folks, we have U.S. business funding. Our score, 9.5 over 10. Now, what's the matter with U.S. business funding? Great player. This is a great player. And they offer many financial products to help business owners score the capital they need. It's a great choice for equipment financing, SBA loans, or working capital loans. U.S. business funding has earned a 95% approval rate and 60-second approvals. This is great. I mean, you can't get better than that. All right. So the minimum time in business that they want from you is 1 to 2 years. Credit score 525 minimum. Borrowing amount less than 50,000 all the way to $1 million. And they will fund you within 12 hours. How about that? That's wonderful, right? I love it. I just love the way they work there. It's just great. And what are the pros and cons here? Pros: borrower qualifications are lower than through banks. Multiple types of financing available. As I said before, you have SBA loans, working capital loans. You have equipment financing arrangements. You have high borrowing amounts, very generous, up to $1 million. The application process is fast and easy. Funds are disbursed very quickly, and customer service is fantastically helpful. What about the cons? Now, the rates can be expensive. Again, it comes with the territory. If you are on the negative, if you're on the lower spectrum of the lower side of the risk spectrum, or the lower side of the credit spectrum, you might be having a higher APR. In other words, if your credit is low, your APR will go up. And we love the fact that one of the things that you also need to remember in terms of negative item or reviews about U.S. business funding is the additional fees. So some consumers have actually complained, and we've seen this on numerous websites, especially through Trustpilot, that U.S. business funding they have been charging other fees that were not announced at the beginning. And some people even complained about aggressive marketing and withdrawn offers. So they were initially offered a funding only to have the offer withdrawn at the very last minute. So this is something that U.S. business funding has to work. They have to work on, because people are really not happy about that. Number 1, folks. Number 1, when it comes to the best EIN-Only business loan that funds within 12 hours, in our view, number 1, I owe you financial. I don't owe you, but the company's name is I owe you. So I owe you financial. Our score is 10 over 10. And this is a company that has been great on many levels. Let's just talk about the pros and cons very quickly here. So the pros: borrower qualifications are lower than with what you will get with banks. You have high borrowing amounts, so you can go all the way to $1 million. Financing is suitable for quick business financing. The application process is fast and easy, and the website advertising is clear and informative. We love the transparency. We love the clarity here. We love the fact that they are able to elucidate all the terms and fees and everything on the website. So kudos, I owe you financial. What about the cons? Of course, here the rates can be expensive and in some cases exorbitant, and you have some additional fees that are charged, and frequent prepayments are required, and no long-term financing options are available. So this is something you need to think about. And another thing I want to mention here is that the with IOU Financial, minimum time in business is 1 to 2 years, minimum credit score 525, required annual revenue $100,000, borrowing amounts 10,000 to $1 million. So time to funding 8 hours. This is really great. And some of the negative reviews and complaints we've heard of is that they have an aggressive sales tactics. We personally we have not uncovered that during our research, but this is something that we read time and again on Trustpilot and other and Triple B, Better Business Bureau. So people are saying that they have aggressive sales tactics and they have unclear terms. And in terms of positive reviews, people have said that they are professional. That's for sure. We can ascertain that. We've seen it. They are fast. That is true. If you need money quickly, it's hard to argue against the allure of a 24-hour or 12-hour funding. And they have semi-reasonable rates, according to people who have actually left reviews on review websites. So this is really good. I just want to say in general that IOU Financial is a short-term lender serving small businesses. So if you are going the short-term, non-traditional lending route, IOU has relaxed credit score requirements. So you want to be prepared with all the documentation I asked you for. I ask you for certain kind of information. You got to have that so that your application is processed and funded ASAP. Okay. All right, folks. I do have a bonus for you because we actually were because I like you. I love my viewers. I love my listeners. And we were doing research and we found another player, actually Fundera. So Fundera, our score 8/10. And Fundera is not really a direct lender, but they are a funding matchmaker, right? So a lender network. And they are great in terms of EIN-Only business loan that funds within 12 hours. And what we love is that this is a company that is extremely customer friendly. They will respond very fast. They understand the importance of a relationship with customers. And so with the Fundera, you can fund within 12 hours, borrowing amount less than $50,000 all the way to $250,000, required annual revenue $100,000, and credit score minimum 550, and minimum time in business 1 to 2 years. All right. In terms of pros and cons, pros, you have multiple types of financing available, and that makes sense because we're talking here about a business funding matchmaker. Okay, so they will match you up with other business funders you may be qualified for. So of course you're going to have, the bottom line is you're going to have a lot more financing types than if you were to go to a single direct lender. And the website's advertising is clear and transparent. Customer service is very helpful, and you have multiple avenues of customer support. Okay, and what about the cons? Now, one thing we have seen also with Fundera is that rates can be expensive. Again, those rates are not coming from Fundera directly. They're coming from the lenders with whom they have established networking relationships or legal relationships. Okay, and some additional fees are charged also. In terms of the services offered, on Fundera, you can find 5 types of business funding. So you have installment loans, you have short-term loans, you have lines of credit, you have equipment loans, and you have SBA loans. So those are the 5 that you can find. Now, Fundera is constantly expanding their offer. So I would strongly recommend that if you want to learn more, or if you haven't found out what you were looking for, you can still contact them and ask them if they are offering that type of loan, the loan that you want. and they will, they will answer you. All right, folks. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I was talking to you today about the top 5 EIN-Only business loans that fund within 12 hours. Maximum loan amount 1 million. Poor credit is okay, and they fund within 12 hours. Okay. So number 1, IOU Financial, 10/10. Number 2, we have a U.S. Business Funding, 9.5/10. Number 3, we have Blue Vine, 9.5/10. Number 4, we have On Deck, 9/10. Number 5, we have Breakout Capital, 8.5/10. And the bonus, we have Fundera. Our score, 8/10. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I really appreciate it. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.